Honestly, doing this interview now, I'm realizing 14 was a year for me because it was when I was 14 that I think I had that realization. So when I was in high school, like a lot of my friends and I, we would like burn CDs from each other that we of like music we thought was cool. There's a record store in my hometown called Exile on Main Street, and there was a record store in New Haven called I think it was Cutler's. And like both of those spots were places that I would like go and like just buy CDs, a lot of stuff that I discovered on like Last FM. But one of the first things that my friend burned from me was her cousin had Radiohead's whole discography. And she was like, I think you would like Radiohead. And at this point in my life, I was not, to be clear, like when I was in middle school, I did not listen to any like mainstream music. All I listened to was like classical and contemporary classical. That's it. And it was in a huge part to kind of differentiate myself from other people. I've always been like a super contrarian. So I just was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to Blink 182. Like, y'all are listening to it. Forget about it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to Bach. And I was also playing violin. So, there was kind of a natural feeling that like classical was what I should be taking in. But, my friend was like, I think you really like Radiohead. Like, my cousin's really into them. And so her cousin burned me this CD that had their entire discography, like a bunch of random EPs and stuff too. Like, it had In Rainbow's Disc too. Like, this person had it all. Like, and, and to this day, those are still the files I have in my
Oh, that's awesome.
library. But the first album I listened to was Kid A, and I remember really connecting with that album immediately. And more importantly, my dad, I had like I think it was an iPod Classic at the time, and my dad saw my screen for what I was listening to, and he said to me, he was like, "Oh, so you like the weird stuff?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know what that means." But he was right, he was totally right. And then it just kind of, I think, connecting with Kid A and Amnesiac, like both
Oh
of
yeah.
those albums simultaneously from that discography, really is what kind of sent me down the path of checking out other more sort of, I guess, mainstream, but like alternative or like experimental rock. And so that's how I knew. It was my dad saying, "Oh, you like the weird
You like
stuff."
the Yeah, it's funny because Radiohead doesn't seem too weird to me now, but at one point in high school, I bought a record player. I should say that the record player, like embarrassingly, I should admit, I guess I'll say, the record player was one of those like 3-in-1 CD tape, but it like had that old timey look to it. So
Yep.
picture that.
Hmm.
And then the girl I was dating in high school, for whatever reason, I guess maybe I had torrented some Radiohead or something. Like I think
Yeah.
I'd gotten into Radiohead, and this girl I was dating bought me my first kind of brand new record, not a used record, not an old record. It was a
Yeah.
new, I think, 10-inch edition of Amnesiac, and
Incredible.
that became my favorite. It still is my favorite Radiohead record. I think probably for
That's
that
the
reason,
best.
but just the opening moments of that album, like the percussive quality to it, it's just like something like opened up inside of me when I put that on. Hearing it on a record, I don't know. I'm totally with you though.
That album is kind of absurd that it even got put out because it's not cohesive, like in any shape or like at all. And it's sounds that we don't hear anywhere else in Radiohead's catalog. Like all of the static noise and stuff, like that's nowhere else. And there's something so interesting to me about the fact that they were doing that and Kid A at the same time, like completely different worlds. And like the one thing that I love the most about Amnesiac is that they just went for it and put Life in a Glass House as the closer. What? It's so good. And that's also my favorite Radiohead album. I think The reason I listened to Kid A first was that I was drawn to the cover. Like I thought the cover was really interesting. So I was like, I'll pull this one out. Amnesiac's cover is kind of scary. Like to me,
Yeah,
there's something right. It's like a
it's
little
dark.
alarming. It's
Yeah.
dark. So I was like, oh, I'm not touching that.
Now that we're talking about it, it's almost like a Rothko painting.
It is, but then there's kind of like that Tom Yorkie like center. Is it their logo in the center? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, you're right, it's dark, and I love it for that reason.
No, I know. It's like a siren blaring at you. And I love it too, and I really connect with it. And I think that's one of those albums. Like there's just a few albums or like a few artists that I feel like people who kind of get into this sort of eclectic listening really connect with. I think Amnesiac and Kid A are two of the classics.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Micromaker by Loose Leaf Transmissions. We hope you enjoyed this brief glimpse into the inner workings of the creative life. If this resonated with you, be sure to check out the full conversation on Music Maker with Tyler Kline, a podcast exploring craft and process, philosophy and inspiration, and the honest, often messy parts of being an artist, creative uncertainty, purpose and identity, and resilience. You can find Music Maker wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting musicmakerpodcast.com.